Okay, I think we're live. This is great. Hello, everybody. Hello, Studio Central. Welcome to, oh goodness. I tried counting yesterday on how many art demos we have done the last couple weeks, and we're definitely surpassing the double digits here. We have quite a lot going on, and it's awesome. I'm so stoked for that. Don't want to have a little bit of lag there. Okay, so I have myself, I'm trying a new setup here. I have myself on one side with my computer, and then I have a camera here. So if we cut off halfway through again, like our last video, we won't get that. Hopefully. But welcome. If you haven't known or met me yet in face to face, I am Marissa. I am the program director at Studio Central. And being there, I get to see so many different types of art, and it's really exciting because it lets me come out of my own comfort zone as an artist. You know, myself, I enjoy doing watercolor, I like using collage, I like doing some mixed media with collage, also do a lot of sculpture. I'm wearing a piece myself that I had made here, but I like doing that, and I can kind of get my head around just the things I'm good at and the things I think I'm good at, but it's hard to try new things, and something at Studio Central I get is there's always new things to try out. And you know, there's that thing along that comes along with it, is that, you know, we offer those art classes and those art workshops for free, and the materials are there given to you, and there's really just you're not losing anything going to a workshop. You're just trying something new, and if you don't like it, then hey, you don't like it, you try something the next day, but at least, you know, you did something different. So actually, on that little rant, today is what I learned in one of those workshops, something completely different than what I normally use, but we have oil pastels here today. Now don't get too excited, we're not just doing oil pastels. We're doing something that, I don't know if you ever did it in school, or if you have any relatives with kids, or yourself you have kids and they've been using them, but there's scratch art. So there are these little tiny black surfaces. They start off like this, black surfaces, but underneath there is so much color, and when you scratch it with any type of sharp object, like a toothpick, paper clip, even like I have some pottery tools here myself I'm going to use, but you can scratch it out and then create your own picture in it. So that's one I did earlier today, and here's another one. It's a little bit more, I don't know, foresty, a little bit of plants. I think I was inspired by some of Kristen's work, little foliage and everything there, but that is something awesome that you can do with it. So it feels a little bit more, I don't know, you don't get a lot of detail. I mean, I tried, as you can see, but it got a little bit clumpy at certain areas. But yeah, you don't get a lot of detail with them, or, you know, you can if you use a smaller object to scratch away the surface. But it's nice and fun because you get to just make a bunch of papers that you can either keep for yourself, save them for a rainy day. I know today is a little bit rainy out there, but you can keep them for yourself and make a bunch and then use them all up later, or you can make a bunch and give them to people. You can give them to like care packages if you want to make some for your friends or neighbors or anybody there. So we're gonna get started. For today, feels a little bit science experimenty, but we have a few materials that are needed. So we'll need a type of paper. I myself am kind of running out of papers, especially art papers, to use. So what I did is I had this large sheet of poster board, and I got inspired from, again, Kristen, her workshop yesterday, where she just had these big poster boards that she put on her wall and then painted them, and she listened to music and painted them, and it was the most beautiful, stunning, inspiring thing I've seen all week. I know the week has just started, but still, nonetheless, it was wonderful. So, inspired from her, took a big sheet of paper and I cut it up. Yeah, I've been running out of paper, so this is just a Bristol paper. Technically it's Bristol vellum, if the type. I have a bunch of stacks of very large scale paper. I feel like this was even like in like the 2-foot range of papers. It was very, very large. So I cut half of it and I left that as a large scale in case I need to use it sometime else. But I made smaller ones, so I can use these. Again, I wouldn't use something like a regular printer paper. If you have mixed media paper or anything like that, this works really well. Because what you're going to do first is you're going to work in layers. So you're going to do oil pastel as the first layer, and then we're going to make a type of paint mixture and cover that as a second layer. So this really just needs to take that oil pastel, so it needs to be a bit thick. I would say it's a little thicker than cardstock. That could be that, but first is paper, obviously very important. If you're going to do art, you need a surface to work on. Myself, if you've watched my videos before, you know I really like my tape. I love painter's tape, I love masking tape, anything, just because I like making little borders along my work. It's not necessary, of course, you can have it there, but it does help just kind of ground your paper on your surface and not make it fly around and such. So we have paper, we have tape, pastels, of course. Oil is what we're going to be using here because oil pastels are waxy. Now myself, if I'm going to be using pastels, see I have this beautiful set here, but I don't use it too often. Ugh. But I found it doing my COVID quarantine cleaning. But yeah, I have this beautiful set, so many different wonderful colors that I was so lucky to find. It's probably a very old set, but this is what you'll use. You can also use crayons, just like Crayola, wax crayons, anything that's going to have a little bit of a waxy barrier to color over and make that first layer, and then it won't have the acrylic paint stick too much, and then you're able to scratch it off after. So oil pastels are what I'm using. You can use crayons, you can use really whatever you would like with that. That is the next thing. Other than that, we will need some scratching tools. I don't have a lot of scratching tools. I actually was very lucky in finding these two pieces. I found these in my cutting materials and my stuff. I do plaster sculpture, and I also clearly have been using super glue in certain things because both of these picks are covered in glue. So they weren't having too much of a successful scratch with them, but other than that, I have one of those tiny little push pins that I found worked really well. Wouldn't be great if you're doing a really large scale work, because you might your hand might get sore. I don't know, that's the only reason why. And then I found this little stick. I don't have toothpicks, nor shish kebab skewers. I don't know, I wish I did. But I just have these little guys, so I used it. It worked okay too, but we'll explore those together. So you got your pointy tool, and last is your paint mixture. Now this paint mixture, it's not a science experiment, but really it feels that way. Your paint mixture is mixed with dish soap. And I found in other places they just use an acrylic paint or a tempera paint. Myself, I just have like a heavy body acrylic, so it's very thick. So it's recommended to have like a very light coat on it. That way you can spread it around easier. So what I did, I pre-mixed this. I have it in a little sour cream container. But I pre-mixed my color, as you can see right in there. It's like a gray, so I mix it with a little bit of white and the black, and then I do have the dish soap mixture in there too. So I mix it around, and that's what I made my first couple of samples with. But I will make one with these with you guys on camera, just so you can see the process of it. But yeah, that, and then last thing you need is a big brush, a big paintbrush. I don't have any of those sponge brushes, but that's actually very ideal to use. I've seen a lot of tutorials online on how to make this scratch art, and they have all used those sponge brushes. Myself, I don't have one, so I'm trying to improvise. I just have a big brush that, as you can see, I've dyed green with other paints. Doesn't come off green, it's just dyed. But what I've done is I've added a bit extra water to it when I spread it on the paper. That seems to work out okay, but we'll give it a try together. That's the best part, that's the fun part of it. Okay, so I'm gonna spin you guys around and have you look at my workspace, and we'll get going. It'll be great. So I'm gonna turn you around, and last time I did this, I did lose you guys, so I'm going to turn the camera around ever so slightly and hope we don't go away. We are still together, and that is good. You see my messy work surface? Yes. Oh, good. Oh, hello, Wynn, Kristen, and James. I see you all here. That's great. Lovely. Okay, so we have our workspace. Very beautiful. Nothing has cut off. Our video's still going, and we'll get started. So I'm going to move my lovely set of pastels. I should really venture more into the world of pastels because it's really a beautiful product. And just like those chalk pastels that I did that workshop with a little while ago, those chalk pastels just have so much color that come off of it very fast. Stunning. Very, very beautiful. So first what we're going to do, we're going to make that first layer, that background sheet. I'm going to take my smaller pieces of paper. For those of you who are interested, this paper, I believe, it's like 5.5 by 7 inches. It's quite small. Again, I like working in smaller scale. Maybe I can produce a few more things faster. I'm not sure. So because I want to get that lovely little border around the piece that I'm working with here, I'm going to tape it down. Again, not necessary for you to tape it down, but it is nice because then you can have it not fly around and move around. But because I want to be tape conscious and my tape is quite large, I'm going to do my little rip in half technique. It's very sticky, as you can hear. Ooh. Yes, I'm going to do my little rip in half technique so we can, oops, save the tape. Wonderful. So this side, I want a flat layer here. I'm going to tape this down. And see, this is why I tape things down, because it is running around. There we go. Now, of course, it doesn't have to be even. I'm sure this is probably not going to be even myself, but hey, that's fine. There we go. And one more for the sides, because I want that even, or moderately even, border. Just a shout out to those guys watching. How's the angle? Is this an okay view? Would you like to see anything different? Also, sound quality, how are we doing with that? That's okay? Give me a shout. Give me a heads up. Give me some feedback. Otherwise, I will just keep chatting and we won't know what this is like until the end. So here's our surface, and we have these beautiful, beautiful colors. I would love to do something with a little bit of purple. I think that'd be very, very fun. So I'm going to grab this purple. Oh, I got so many colors. I'm going to start kind of working lighter to darker, I think, because earlier when I was using the pastels, I did the opposite, and some of the darker colors blended too much with the lighter ones, so. But I'm going to do it first, and I'm going to do a bit of a thick layer. Myself, again, I am completely novice with these pastels, so if I'm doing something a little bit different than how you're traditionally supposed to, that's why. But this first layer that we're doing, it really can have a lot of color thrown around everywhere. You don't have to do anything sort of in lines or have them straight going on. It kind of creates more of a fun result in the end. But something you do want to do is lots of color. So you want to have lots of different colors. I could do something with a gradient on this, but it's a little late for that. But yes, just adding in those purples and making sure my whole surface is covered. This is like not purple, it's blue, but hey, they're in the same family, kind of. Let's add it. So again, throwing this color not only in one spot, I'm just kind of going around, making sure there's no white spots. Again, using a lot of pressure in my hands so I create a thick layer of waxy surface in between the paper. Otherwise that paint won't come off through it. It just kind of will come up in layers. James says he loves the color. Ooh, thanks, I do too. It's very fun. Great colors. Just the purples are so fun. And this is one of those things, it's kind of like, I throw it as stress relief, where myself as an artist, I really like having a plan of how it's going to start, how it's going to look in the end, all that kind of stuff. But something like this is so freeing to me because I just get to color, not focus on what it's going to look like in the end or kind of worry about that. Just go to town. Go to town, add in some color. It's quite nice and quite relaxing. But I think I'm just gonna have this corner, all of this purple, and there we go. We have a colored sheet. Lovely. Okay, so we have that one, and now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do one more sheet, and then we're gonna move on to our painting aspect of this. So we've moved that down. Just again, have this down here. And I made this a really long piece of tape, so hopefully I can rip it. Kristen says she seconds that, loves the color. Well, awesome. Thank you, thank you. While I'm taping this piece down, if you guys have any recommendations on colors to use, shout them out, because I am making one more colored piece, and then we're going to move on to the painting portion. So, if you have any favorite colors? I know James has been doing a lot of Viridian hues lately, so maybe we'll do a little shout out of a Viridian hue for him. And as you can see, I cut my tape too short, but not to fret. I had taped it down already, or had a second piece. Amy says orange. Oh, thank you. I love orange. Okay, let's do that. Thank you, Amy, for the suggestion. Okay, so are we thinking doing complete orange everywhere, or just a little orange? Orange, red. Oh, we are getting all the color suggestions. Perfect. Well, this is an orangey red. So I think we're going to do maybe just some stripes across on this one, and I'll throw in some more reds and maybe other colors of orange. Sounds like an orangey red. It looks more red on the camera there, but this is a little bit more of a red. Got the red in there. I see another orange in my box here that I'm gonna try as well. Got this orange. It's again, Kristen, those tritones of colors we got going on. Orange is so nice. So cool. Okay. So got the orange, got the red. This is gonna be a lot of orange and red. Maybe I'll throw in like a pink too. Why not? Let's get crazy. Throw in a type of pink. Thought I had a pink. Oh, here's one. It's like a reddish pink. Throw that in there. Again, it's just so fun to scratch color across the surface. Especially somebody who just really, again, focuses on what the project's going to look like in the end. It's the worst when you're coloring and your paper gets in the way of the paper of the pastel, and then you gotta break it, and then you always get red pastel or whatever color pastel in your nails or on your fingers. Okay, and let's add maybe this yellow. It's like a sunburst of colors. We'll have to do a sun or something on this piece after. Okay. So this one is colored as well. Wonderful. Thank you for joining me on that coloring adventure. Just going to wipe my hands off on that. Okay, now we are done with the pastels. So we are going to put those off to the side before my fingers get caught in them again. Oh, I just put them on my floor. That's where I did. Okay. So now we have our next piece here. And what we are going to do now is that mixture of paint. So I'm going to just put this off to the side here, and what we are going to do next is I already do, again, like if you weren't here earlier in the beginning, fire colors. I could do fire too. Here is the paint that I'm going to put over top of it, but I want to show you guys how I made this color, so I'm going to do one myself for you guys with the camera here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try something different. Maybe use a colored color rather than just black. What I did before was I just did a black with a white, so I got a little bit of a gray, which I really enjoyed, but I'm going to just do green. Try experimenting with you guys. So I don't need too much, because I'm probably going to only use this once or twice, but if you want to know the color, apparently I'm using is Viridian Hue by Artist's Loft. These are really fun little sample packs of paint. You just got it at Michael's or so, but yeah, that should be good. Okay, so right now we have that, and like I said again, I have acrylic paint, so you can see it is stiff. It is on there good. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add a little bit of water to this paint. Not too much, hopefully, and hopefully I don't pour this out. This is dangerous. Woo! A little bit. Okay. A little bit. A little too much. I'll pour a little bit out on this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, just going to mix it with the water so I can get it a little bit liquidy. Again, something like a paint that you would get maybe at the dollar store, like Dollarama. It's a little bit, has a different thickness to it. So you can like put it on your palette right away and it kind of runs. That paint is perfect for this type of exercise. But now that I have that green in there, we are going to use that secret ingredient, the dish soap. Now, earlier when I did this, it was a little bit confusing because the dish soap obviously smells like lovely lemons and essential clean, but the paint smelled like paint, so my nose was confused in what I was smelling. But that's that story there. So what we're going to use is just a tiny bit. For that larger bit of paint I used, I did about like a nickel-sized amount. What we're going to do is we're just going to drop it in there, kind of like a dime-sized amount, just so you can see there. Again, I'm going to take the back of my paintbrush I was using to mix and just get it in there. Probably going to use a little bit extra. Nothing too great, 1 or 2 drops, just to get a little bit of a mixture in there. And again, I learned this from a lovely artist who had gone through the Artbeat program at Studio Central. So this is my first time actually doing it on my own. So I don't know the proper mixture and how this should look in the end. Hers looks kind of similar to this. Hers was really watery though. So I don't know if maybe I'll need a little bit more water. But anyway, that's the paint. It's very, very simple. Just like that. So now that we have that paint, we are going to cover it up. I think I had hidden this little guy. I had did this earlier. It's a lovely rainbow. I think we'll use the green to cover the rainbow. That could be fun. So what I'm going to do is again just, tape this down a little bit so it doesn't run away from me. Take my paint, stick, and just wet that off. Again, earlier I had said those sponge brushes work so well using this That's what a lot of people do use in their tutorials online. I myself don't have any of those, unfortunately. I wish I did, but I'm just going to use this brush here. And in order for it to kind of replicate like that sponge brush, I'm just going to add a bit of water in it. A little bit more water so it spreads out evenly. So now what you do, you have your brush full, and you're just going to drag it across. It's so simple, and that's why I said earlier this is a really great exercise just to, do on your own, or you can do a bunch of papers and make them for people, make little care packages for people. I know I was talking with Kristen earlier, and she just said that right now it seems like so many different people are so into art and so into painting, and she actually said that she was having a hard time finding some paint supplies at the dollar store. So it's so great to know that there's a lot of other people out there who are wanting to get painting. That's awesome. So you see how this is not kind of gone all the way through, like you can still see the patterns of that rainbow effect in the back. We're going to do a second layer, so you can really just go very lightly with the paint on there and let this dry. My window is open, so I'm going to actually stick it by that window and let it dry. Also another bit of that tape. That's why I use the tape, so I can just stick it on things. But as it's drying, again, I'm a big fan of working on multiple pieces at once because I'm impatient. So as it's drying, we'll use this one. Now this purple, I think I want to use the gray and green, I guess, is our colors we're using this time. So I am going to, unfortunately, only have one type of water. That's okay. So I'm going to cover this up with that gray. And again, get some water in there. And just lightly go across. It's so simple. And once you make this paper, you can just use it so many times, have a lot of fun with it. And the more you do these experiments and the more you do the practice making these sheets, you'll get better at it each time. I know myself, I'm probably will get much better at it next time around. So we have that one. Again, this will need a double coat. But because our other one's still drying, let's work on our little fire number and just cover it up. So cover. How you guys all holding up there? This will get really exciting in about 2 moments. I can guarantee you. That's when the magic happens. When we're able to start scraping away at this. And now you see, don't worry that you can see the brush strokes on this. That's perfectly fine. Again, we're doing it in small layers, so no worries there. I also kind of like having that tape down because it adds as a barrier, so I'm not painting over my surface. I'm not directly painting onto things. But what we're going to do is we're going to let those dry, and that's how you're making those paper pieces. What we're going to do now is normally we would wait for it to dry and then do another coat, then start scratching. But I have done the liberty of making a sheet beforehand, so I can show you exactly how the scratching works right off the bat. So yeah, we have our color here. Super excited. I don't even remember exactly which colors I have underneath this piece. So let's get going, get ahead here. I'm gonna move this stuff from my surface just because I moved a little plant in here for you guys so you have something to look at. But maybe let's try actually drawing this plant. I know it's right in front of us there, so let's get our pointed surface. And I'm going to start, I'm at a really funny angle because I'm standing up, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing it from the side here. So, let's... Oh, this is a pink and purple one. Cool. This guy's a little bit too thick. And once the color comes off, you can kind of just scratch those other pieces that fly up with it away. And we'll go with that other side, that pot. And we'll do some shading here. If you're like me and you don't like that scratching sound, you can do the great thing about putting music on in the background. So I'm going to do that because that sound is not very fun. So let's just play some music for you guys. Play a little begonia for you guys. That's always fun. Roll around in the shadows like a cat in the light. I'm scared of everyone. One ear in the cloud and one in the ground, and I jump instead of the sun. Where does my fear come from? I roll around avoid the sun. Fear of everyone, fear of bodies in power, fear of screaming too loud, fear of wasting an hour, fear of never getting it together, fear of being lazy, fear of the mouse in my kitchen, fear of going crazy. So you can see a little there. I've been just doodling some plants. And it's really fun just to do something. This one's a little bit more. Tried to do our friend here. Tried to do our friend. It worked out a little bit. But yes, it's a little bit of a different type of art.
Wait for the call. Got my phone open, vibrating on the tabletop. Sometimes I feel like you don't think of me at all. Mostly I'm hoping I'm on your mind every day and every night. If you're okay, maybe drive me a line. I often wonder if you're only in my dreams. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be a first for me. Imagination working overactively, needing all these doubts to wash away out of my life. And if it's fate, I'm willing to take my time. Every day, every night. If you're okay, maybe draw me a line. Every day and every night. I can't always wait for invisible signs. Rolling in the right mind feels like such a long time from what we created. Every day another one fades away. Remember when we sat still? I would have waited until the morning for you to say something. Can you describe how to get you feeling? Changing your mind isn't what you're feeling. Going to decide you're living at the ceiling. You can't get no high. You can't get no higher. Can you describe how to get you feeling? Changing your mind isn't worth the dealing. You don't want to decide you're living at the ceiling. You can't get no high. You can't get no higher. Running by your side, thought we'd hit the right stride. But the longer we waited, every step left us with something less. Remember when I held back, brought over a suitcase but never unpacked. I couldn't wait for you to say something. Can you describe how to get you feeling? Changing your mind isn't worth the dealing. We don't want to decide you're living at the ceiling. You can't get no high. You can't get no higher. Can you describe how to get you feeling? Changing your mind isn't worth the dealing. We don't want to decide you're living at the ceiling. You can't get no high. You can't get no higher. I would wait for you to say something, for you to say something. Now I want you to disappear.
Okay. Ooh, I don't know how to do a backwards camera. So this is our final product here. It's a little bit of like some swirls and plants and I don't know, rain or fun background, but yeah, it's something cool, and it's like picking off, I don't know, it feels like picking off nail polish or something, where it's something you shouldn't do for the safety and health of your nails, but it's just so fun. So it's nice because you get to scratch away and see beautiful colors, but at the same time, I don't know, it makes it a little bit more controlled. And it's nice too because there's that oil pastel and I can touch it and it doesn't feel as, you know, wet or not as it normally would. But that's our workshop for today. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. I have to clean up my workspace now. My art table is a mess, but hey, that's fun. That's the fun of it. Art can be messy, and that's nice. So thank you for, again, joining and watching me explore a medium that I'm not too used to or familiar with, but I had a good time, and I hope you guys learned something too. Hope you guys are following along at home, and if you do decide to mix up some paint and use some pastels, please send them our way. We'd love to see your examples and what you guys come up with. So hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. You guys take care. Finish.